basic trig. Okay? We've already started talking first. We did Pythagorean theorem where I had two sides and I had to find the third side. Okay? And then we just had the unit with 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90, where they gave you an angle and a side and you were able to find it. But it had to be this specific kind of triangle, 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90. Okay? So now we're going to learn how to find sides and angles. We've never been able to find angles before when they didn't give it to us. We knew it was a 90-degree triangle or a right triangle, but we've never been able just to figure out what those actual angles were. What's a hypotenuse? Good, it's the longest side, right? Or it's the one that's across from the 90 degrees, right? What's adjacent mean?
Short side across from the shortest angle.
It's like the opposite. It's like the 90-degree angle, like this and like that.
What does the word adjacent mean?
Across from the side.
So if I had angles that were adjacent, they're what? Next to each other. Very good. They're next to each other. Angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent. They're next to each other. And what does opposite mean? They're vertical angles, or what would we say? Across from each other. Okay, so opposite means across from each other. So 1 and 3 would be opposite. 2 and 4 would be opposite. Okay, parts of a triangle. The main part is to know how to name it. So let's just say that we're going to start at angle A. Okay, so we're at angle A. What would I call this top line right here? That would be my hypotenuse. What would I call this one down here? 9, 9, 9. Okay, opposite, adjacent.
Oh, it's the opposite.
It's next to where we are, so it's the adjacent. And the one that's across from where we are is called the opposite. Okay? The problem here is that who says that we have to start here? What happens if I move? What if I move to B? Is this still my hypotenuse? Okay? So then, is this still going to be my opposite? No, why? Because now it's next to that B, which means that my opposite is going to change and come down here. So depending on where I start is where I label my sides. You will never, ever, ever start at your 90 degrees. Ever. Okay? Never, ever start at 90 degrees. So there's only two spots where we're going to start. Review. Are you ready? If I start at A, I have my hypotenuse, my opposite, and my adjacent. If I move it, right, I still have my hypotenuse, but now my opposite and my adjacent switch. Are we good with that? Questions? Okay. All right. So now I want us to go back and look at okay, so make sure you put your calculator in degree mode. There are three things that we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning about tangent, cosine, and sine. Okay? If you look at your calculator, above the numbers, you'll see the buttons tan, cos, sine. Everybody see those buttons on your calculator?
Oh, yes.
Look on your calculator.
Oh,
Above the numbers, you see the buttons tan, cosine, and sine.
Oh.
Okay? So those are the buttons that you're going to be pushing. Okay? Today we're going to just focus on tangent. Okay? We're just going to be focusing on tangent. The tangent formula is the tangent of some degree or some angle is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side. So we have to first figure out, well, where do we start so we can label the sides properly? Okay, well, in this triangle right here, where would I start? Well, it tells me the tangent of A. That means I'm going to start at A. What would I call this side right here? Hypotenuse. Always label your hypotenuse first. Because the hypotenuse is the hypotenuse no matter what. Okay? What would I call this side right here?
Adjacent.
Adjacent. And this side over here?
Opposite.
Opposite. So my formula is the tangent of some degree. We're at angle A. So the tangent of A is equal to the opposite, which is 5, over the adjacent, which is 12. So in your calculator, 5 divided by 12 gives you what? 0.4167. You must have 4 decimal places. There are some times when they won't give you that many, and that's okay. But if you have a whole bunch of decimals, you must and are required to go out 4 decimal places. Go to the 5th and decide whether you move up or down or not. Okay? So the next one. Well, what happens in that same triangle? What happens now if I do tangent of C? Which means that I start at C. What would I call this side right here? What would I call this side right here? Hypotenuse, very good. What would I say this one? Adjacent, very good. And this one down here? Opposite. So it's the tangent of C angle is equal to, remember, it's always opposite over adjacent. My opposite is now 12, and my adjacent is 5. So now its tangent of C is equal to 12 over 5. 12 divided by 5 is 2.4. Are we good? Okay, look at the next one. Where would I start? At the 32. Either the angle they give you or their angle that they're asking you to find. Okay? So we're going to start at the 32 degrees. What would I call this side right here? Hypotenuse. What would I call this one? Opposite. This one? Adjacent. Okay? Flip your paper over. Okay? So we have hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. Remind me again, what's the formula for tangent?
Opposite over.
The tangent of some degree, right? What's my degree? 32 degrees. Because now they actually gave me an angle measure, so I need to use that one. The tangent of 32 degrees is equal to the opposite. What side is my opposite? 6 over my adjacent, which is x. Okay? Now, in your calculator, push tan 32. In your calculator, push tan 32. Tell me what numbers do you get?
4.9.
4.9.
It rounds up. It's not 4.9. It rounds up.
0.62486, which rounds up to 9. Do what? Tan 32. You push the tangent button on your calculator and then type in 32, enter. Did you put it in degree mode? That number is equal to 6 over x. Our goal here is to get x by itself, but it's a fraction and the x is on the bottom. Whatever is on bottom is what you multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by whatever is on the bottom, right? And that means that these two are going to cancel out. Is x by itself yet? So this is like saying 5x. What would you do if it was like 5x? Wouldn't you then divide by this other number? So now right here I'm going to divide by 0.6249. On this side, divide by 0.6249. These then cancel out. So what is 6 divided by 0.6249? 9.601 what?
5.
5, so round up.
Okay? No, 4 decimal places.
Oh, I thought it was about 4.
No, 4 decimal places after. Okay, I want you to try number 1 and number 2. All right, so on number 1, where do I start?
Labeling the sign.
Good, but where do I start? Where am I standing?
Angle 28.
I'm standing at 28, very good, because that's the angle they gave me. What would I call this side right here?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. What would I call this side right here?
Opposite.
Opposite, because it's across from where I started, the star, right?
Oh.
Okay, and what would I call this side right here?
Adjacent.
Adjacent, because it's next to where I'm starting from. Okay, then it's going to be the tangent of some degree is equal to the opposite over the adjacent, right? So what degree do I have? 28 degrees. What's my opposite side?
X.
X. And what's my adjacent side?
32.
32. And you multiply by what?
X.
Whatever is on the bottom. Whatever is on the bottom, that's what you're going to multiply both sides by. So 32 times 1028 gives me what?
17.014.
0144. Is that correct? So that means that this side right here is 17.0144 units long. Is it going to be nice and pretty? No, because my angles aren't nice and pretty. Should this side be smaller than this side? Yes, and I know that not because of how it looks on the picture, but if I went and found this angle right here, right, 90 minus 28 is 62. This angle 62, that side over here needs to be bigger than the other side. Okay? On number 2, you started at 37. This is your hypotenuse. This is your opposite. This is your adjacent. Correct? So, tangent of 37 degrees is equal to the opposite, which is x, over the adjacent side, which is 21. Now multiply both sides by 21. So what's 21 tan 37? So you just push those buttons. 21 tan 37.
15.8246.
15.8246. Did I write it right? Good. All right, now that you're smarter, do 3 and 4. 62. Oops. Starting at 62. Oh, come on. There we go. So we're starting at 62. What would I call this side right here?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. This side right here?
Adjacent.
Good. This side?
Opposite.
So it's going to be the tangent of 62 degrees is equal to whatever my opposite side is over whatever my adjacent side is. Remember, we're going to multiply by whatever is on the bottom, right? That means these cancel out. What is tan 62? So in your calculator, push the buttons tan 62 and tell me what do you get?
1.8807.
8,
807. 2 8 1.
like that?
Yep.
So this is x times this is equal to 15, correct?
Yep.
Is x by itself?
No.
So now I need to divide by 1.8807. Right? So now x equals what?
7.9757.
7.958.
758.
How many of you have that? Okay. How many of you figured out what you did wrong? Good. That's what I like to see. All right. So where am I going to start on number 4?
58.
At the 58. What would I call this side?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. What would I call this side?
Opposite.
And this side?
Adjacent.
Okay. So the tangent of 58 degrees is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. Multiply both sides by whatever is on the bottom, right? So what is 26? In your calculator, just push 26, 10, 58. And what do you get?
41.6086. 8 9.
8, 9?
8 7.